Sup nerds, Owngoal here bringing you a exciting replay between my teammate Opalbearblack and Enticity. This features the kind of like C, B minus tier lizards. They're a little on the anemic side now, but just got some patches this buff. And specifically to these units, like Saurus got some more MA, Sacred Krox got some stats across the board. Fighting against Anticity's Slaanesh. Slaanesh are still like pretty S tier, high A tier. They're one of the best factions in the game, piloted by the current defending world champion, Enticity. This replay was recommended, so let's check it out. Right off the bat, Opal's gone for like a pretty wide stat build. Mazda's like a typical meta lord. So is Enticity. He's trying out the spawn, it looks like, but he's gone for some infantry, some mobility, and like a good Slaanesh lord. The Sacred Krox are probably like decent now, actually. They were kind of borderline before, like not the best. Like this RAR has pretty powerful stats, even for 1700 magic attacks, dazed, etc. It's very tough, has good damage output. Similarly, the non-RAR is pretty tough when it's fighting near skinks. It gets this mutual buff where it's got a 10% weapon strength bonus. And then Mazda is mostly taken because he has these really good bound spells, like the typical Slann Banishment, Big Vortex, and then Ruination of Cities. It's a very powerful area thing where it like shoots out a couple rays and they do a bunch of damage, good at killing infantry and cav. And then he takes Apotheosis to heal stuff and net to net stuff. Overall, like pretty strong lord, cheap, very sturdy. He's got like the is-fat stat where he tends to attract enemy lords but not actually die, which can be really good. If they chase your caster, they get them down to low health but don't kill them. That time is going into this instead of something else. Right out the gate, Enticity runs out for a 3-cap. Makes sense. Looks like he's testing spawn. They just got buffed on this last patch. The spawn of Slaanesh are a pretty powerful unit. They were like a little bit below the playable stat curve before, but people have been having some success with them. And on this map, I kind of actually like how Opal's playing this. Like, he's playing it pretty slowly, making sure that he has a well-centered army with good defensive position for his skirmishers. And he's keeping the Sacred Krox close to the Saurus so that they can support each other. And, in Dom, there's no rush. Like, you have some time to push up on the point and set up your formation, and you can trade that time to get a better position. So Enticity is seeing this. I think he doesn't like his odds against the scaling of the lizards, so he's coming around, trying to set up for like a front push with these units and then a flank push with these, and then maybe he can get some rear charges and trigger devastating flanker on a bunch of these things, which would be very advantageous. Here's the unit that has it, the Forsaken. So overall, like what Opal would like to do. Sorry about that. Our space cam went out to the top of the ceiling. I guess this... Oh, there's floating rocks, I see. There's like spooky chaos floating rocks. We were pulling the camera through the rocks. So Anticity's moving around, trying to set up for a good collapse. He summons a Soul Grinder, so that's like a slightly unconventional pick here. I think that they might have actually just got some buffs on the last patch, but it's pretty squishy for what it does. Like, it's a big SE, but it's not that heavy, and it costs a lot. It doesn't have that much health, so it can be a little bit susceptible. This Exalted Keeper is like probably the best lord on the roster. He's still trying Pavane, which is interesting after the Pavane nerf. So here we go. He dives in. he sees some skinks that he can just crush with these Forsaken. Drops in on those. This is a pretty good frontline engage for Opal. So he gets... he needs to move this Kroxigor in, but he gets his Sacred Krox fighting the infantry with Saurus underneath them. And they fight near full efficiency with infantry underneath them. So that's a good, like, supportive position. And then the Fat Frog, summons the Horn of Lure. So all the SEs have to go for the Frog. It's his hidden ability. He's got net and then extra net. So Enticity goes for that dive. Anticity's so good at seeing these, like, offensive tactics. So I wouldn't be surprised, if he sees, like, an opportunity to slip this around and through and get on the Lord. These Skink Skirms here are one of the more effective peel units. Like, they're really, really good at getting stuff off of something they're chasing because they're so cheap. They do good damage. They have a straight line shot. Okay, interesting. So this looks actually a little bit bad for Mazda. A lot of the time when you're lord baiting with him, what you want to do is have some mass nearby that's like a little more effective than just a single cold one. And then you can run back and reinforce. But in this case, Anticity's got these 2 elite assassins and is able to get the drop on Mazda with both of them. And there's not really like supporting cover, so the Slaanesh is getting picked off. But while that's happening, the Lizards are just absolutely rolling the front line. Like these Chosen of Slaanesh got just dunked by the Sacred Krox. The Rar drops their melee defense, and then the saurus hit harder, so it's like kind of a wombo combo there. So actually, while he's dunking on the Lord, Slaanesh isn't actually that far ahead right now, which is kind of cool to see. Now he's chasing Mazda into the Slaanesh, which poses a bit of risk for Slaanesh, but also, man, Mazda is getting chunked. Jeez, these units are like a really effective goon squad together, even if it's pretty all in. And then Mazda routes and runs the wrong direction. Oh no, very unfortunate. If he'd run the other way, potentially the Slaanesh units wouldn't be able to like follow and finish, but it's looking like they're going to get the Lord pick now. Fortunately for the Lizards, they have pretty high leadership on most of their units except the Skinks, and so they can kind of tolerate a dead Lord for a little bit. There's potential for a resummon, and then the Lord is down, but the Lizards are not too far behind. Like, didn't hear no bell here on the Lizard side, because in compensation for that dive, they've been able to take out most of the infantry of Slaanesh, which means that now the Slaaneshi infantry is going to need to reinforce slowly, or the Cav is going to have to fight Lizard combined infantry in mass without support. Looks like Enticity is now trying to spawn stuff the Lizard player. So running in with the SEs, really taking advantage of the dead Lord and getting some terror routes at the Skinks near the white line. So they run away, and then, Skink Skirms eventually usually rally and come back and take some shots. But in this situation, they're just going right off the map. So I like that play from Enticity, although he's got to be a little careful, because if he gets surrounded by these Krox, he can definitely get picked off, especially the Rar Kroc. This unit is just a beast, like 57 MA functionally after the Daze debuff, and then it slows things, and that stacks with the Poison Slow. So when it gets on something, it can really kill it. Looks like the Rar cohort also has been doing well against the Slaaneshi units. Oh, and Anticity's getting stuck in here. This is pretty interesting. So we haven't seen any summons coming out from the Lizard player, which probably means he's waiting for the kill cooldown on Mazda and intending to resummon, since he's got plenty of wand left. And he's staying really close here on value. Like, if you look at this is actually like a surprisingly acceptable position for the Lizard player. And he's got, oh, look at that. Look at that. So these units rely on their Fizz resist to defend them. 20% over here, 20% over here, and he's got surrounds on them. This is a really clean surround. He's got surrounds on them with the buffed magic damaging Kroxigors, and then he's eating missiles in over the heads of the short Kroxigors into the tall demons. And so it looks like the Slaanesh Lord is going to go down here. We've got some very excited dogs in the background. Good boys. There's a visitor, which they love. Wonder if you can hear that on the stream. Okay, cool. Okay, so the Exalted Keeper is going to go down. He's not too far behind on points. This is actually looking, wow. So we got a Mazda snipe for Opal, and then he turned it around, resummoned his Lord, and took out the Slaaneshi Lord. So what an incredible reversal against, I think, right now, the best active player in the world. Unfortunately, it's not me. We decided that in 2 championships in a row, where Enticity got me. So impressive play here from our teammate. The fat buff sort of worked. It drew the enemies onto him, but too much. He died. And even in that situation, it ended up working out. So you can kind of see how, like, chasing a Slaanesh can be a risk. They're just really tough, and it takes a long time to kill them. And here, while he died, he got compensation for it. And now he's got his Lord. Slaanesh doesn't. These elite Krox are pretty healthy, so these should be able to come in and clean up. I'm going to fast forward, because we're looking at infantry fighting against mass supported by infantry. So, like, on the Lizard side, this is pretty easy. You just, like, send the Skinks in. You have Mazda follow up and support. And as long as you don't blunder, getting a rear charge on the Rar, it should be, like, a pretty easy table clear. And, here he's up more than it looks, because he's got a healing caster who's been dropping Apotheosis. So, like, if you look at the eyeball test, there's a whole lot of melee power left for the Lizards, and not really, like, that much on the Slaaneshi side. So just fast forwarding here, I think it's basically over in favor of the Lizards. Wow, that's a really cool game. So basically the Kroxigors carried, and the Saurus clubs, I think, actually did pretty well. So great highlight of the 2 units that just got, like, significant buffs on this last patch. And also of, like, being a little bit careful with your spawn dives and not, like, overcommitting. to those kinds of plays. These camo stalkers are a very cool unit, but they kind of suck. So they got summoned a couple times and traded down. So Mazda did all right despite dying. The saurus did decently actually. Like one of them got cleared, the other traded up. Cohort did pretty well. Oh my goodness, a lot of the damage on the Lord came from the skink skirmishers here, I think. And then the sacred Krox just crushed 1800, 2551. That's incredible, really impressive. I kind of like the Mazda Apotheosis combination with those guys. And then the Lizard Cab did all right. So it's mostly the Skink Skirms and the Kroxigors that carried. On the Slaaneshi side, the Spawn did not do well. The Chosen got wrecked. The Slaaneshi Cab did not do very well. And the Furies did okay. And while he got the Lord pick, he ended up actually trading down on these Elite Assassins. So that's a pretty cool game. Good highlight of composure when losing your Lord and like how to position and use Monstrous Imp well. Thanks for sending the replay, Opal. That's all. See you later, nerds.